Hello everybody and welcome to the video today. Great to have you with me and I hope you enjoy this one, and I certainly am going to enjoy making this as much as you probably were watching it as well. So wherever you're watching from, be it locally in the UK or around the world, thank you for joining me, and shout out to my regular viewers and subscribers. Great to have your support as well. Anyway, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button after the video if you like what you see. And this is a 24-hour channel, so it's always open. As the depot says, it's always open. There's always a train here to catch at some point. Anyway, moving on, I'm going to just go through a question, or an answer to a question, should I say. A YouTube viewer, or should I say YouTube user, and a viewer of my channel. I think it's Tornado81, if that's you. If it's not the right pronunciation, I do apologize, but yeah, I think it's Tornado81, I think. Anyway, I think his name's Phil. Again, I haven't checked the response, and you know this question's for you because you specifically asked me about how do I store the layout and what is removable on my layout. Well, I'm not going to do a video on me actually dismantling the layout and storing it, but what I will tell you is this whole layout that you see before you is 6x4 in dimensions. It does lift off vertically and it is stored behind me against my wardrobe. I live in a very small flat and the bedroom that I have is quite small, but it's designed to fit in such small conditions, and it works quite well. So what lifts off and what doesn't is what you asked me, I think. So I'll try and answer that question now as best I can. So if we start off over here really quickly, I designed this recently after I built the layout. It's a removable shelf system. So this shelf is made up of some offcuts of timber. There's some battens screwed underneath that act like a rest plate, and that whole thing lifts off together. And this building all lifts off. The windmill lifts off. Looking over at this shot here, the church, large church building, that comes off. The crossing keeper's cottage, that lifts off there. The signal box behind the church is permanent. Those row of houses over there, they lift off, as do the shops and convenience store behind there. The little signal box over there where the cows are in the corner, that lifts off. The Metcalf Brewery, Brahms and List, complete with Mr. Dibner climbing the chimney. Those are all separate buildings that are lift-off jobs as well. They're all removable. The Steptoe and Son yard that you can see in behind there, that's permanently fixed down to the layout. The Super Quick Car building, which is the school, which is the Lilybank Infant School, that is super glued down or glued down to the layout. That's permanent because it's only a very lightweight building. The police station next to it, the opticians, they lift off. All of those station buildings, including the footbridge, lifts off. The little newsagent W.H. Smith's kiosk is glued down to the platform surface there, as is the little bike shed. The bus in the taxi rank over there, that route master, that lifts off. The Evelyn Porter steam rolled roller, that lifts off. The route master bus lifts off. That vintage waste collection lorry is super glued down, as is the Steptoe and Son Hercules and horse and cart job. That's all in place permanently. The steel cable delivery truck, that's super glued down. That steam traction engine, or steam engine, the traction engine, should I say, that is removable. What else lifts off on this layout? The signal box there, that's permanently in place. That signal box behind the church is permanently in place. Over here, the goods depot loading dock, that's permanently in place. The goods shed, the loco shed, the coaling stage, which is a monster, and the water tower, they all lift off because they're quite heavy buildings. Moving over here, lastly, the station little waiting room, or little staff hall, I call it, little station hall building, that's permanently in place with the platforms. The pub, quite rightfully so, is permanently in place, as it should be. And everything else, as mentioned, is removable, including these signals. Just out of curiosity, these are Hornby signals that I've used in my layout, because obviously my layout isn't a permanent fixture. If it was, I wouldn't use signals like these. I'd kit build my own signals, or I'd get the really nice ones from Ratio. You can buy some nice ones that actually function. But because my layout is designed to be put away and set up again, they have to be obviously very robust, but also removable. And guess what they are? Look, I'll show you. Normally when you buy these in the box, you've got to fit the handrails around the gantries, and things like the ladder I think are on there, but it comes as a standalone item, which includes the base. The base is like a cast white metal material that's designed to be freestanding, or you can track pin it, or you can screw it, you can glue it to the baseboard. And what I've done with mine, guys, look, you might say, oh, what about your signals? Aren't they get broken? Watch. Bop. They come off. What I've done is there were two lugs on the side of that split peg there. Either side there were two ears on the end that clipped in and corresponded to that metal base in the bottom. And you can get them out, obviously, because I've done with mine. But I've just basically filed those off. So now it's just a plug and play system. They just slot in like that quite happily, and that will stay there the duration of the running time. When it's time to put everything away later on tonight, they just lift out and get put away in the storage boxes nicely, so it doesn't get damaged. One last thing about things on the items on the layout that are permanently fixed down. My yard lamps over here obviously are permanently in place. The loading gauge and little bits and pieces like that. You might say to me, what about the signal box roof? Because it looks quite a fine detailed item with the detailing on the roof there. Well, the answer to that question is the following. The largest structure on the layout that's permanently in place isn't the coaling stage, obviously, it's the tunnel. And it's on one corner, obviously, of the layout, because I had nowhere else to build it. But because it's quite a durable, hard material that it's been made out of, which is the landform bandage from Woodland Scenic, which is a plaster cloth that's impregnated with plaster that you add water to and you build it up in layers. The same thing as if you go to the hospital and you break a limb. That is very, very tough, and it acts like a little buffer. So when the whole thing is flipped up that way and stored behind me against my wardrobe, it basically, everything below the level of that tunnel is protected, so it doesn't get buffed or scratched or damaged whilst it's leaning up vertically against the side of the wardrobe. It's quite happy like that, and it doesn't get damaged. So I hope that answers your question. Plug and play wiring I've designed, so obviously that one does the track feed, this is the auxiliary feed, it does the lighting and the isolating section. Everything goes through via the bus wires I've designed into the transformer, electronic track cleaner, obviously, and my switches, and now my signalman's block instrument. One of the things that I did design this really quickly, and then I run some trains. There's a hole there, as you can see, one there, there's another one roughly that was there. Originally, when I designed this layout, I had two sets of legs that I'd knocked up out of some timber, screwed and glued, little battens. Might have shown you on the previous videos. I did actually. It seems ages ago. Actually, it was last Christmas, I believe. But I'm not going to start singing George Michael last Christmas. Don't ask me. But yeah, that was how I originally had it on these two sets of legs, and they were such a pain in the backside to every time set them up, and then to go underneath and locate the bolts through the holes, put the washers in, the wing nuts on every single corner. It was a nightmare. So I thought, you know what, tables are much more quick and fast to set up over the bed. Bosh, rest it on there when it's time to take things away. Once all the buildings are off, they go in a special box and everything's left over, as mentioned, and once this is all disconnected and put away, it's just the bare baseboard. Much like you saw the other day when I did the track weathering video, that's just permanently set up as a dead layout purely the baseboard on there for that purpose, and that's what I end up with when I put things away. It's turned around, flipped on its end, and then carefully stored behind me on its side, or on its end should I say, behind me. So I'm not going to do a video of how I do that, but I hope that answers Tornado 81's questions. Again, if I've mispronounced your channel, if it's Tornado Steam 81, either way, you know who you are, and I hope that answers the questions for you. Anyway, let's get on with running some trains. That's what we came here for today, wasn't it? Okay, so coming around on track number 1, we have this Hornby V-Class, Schools Class Dover, which is what I unboxed the other day and I showed you guys and girls out there. So here she comes. She's a tender drive model, but as you can see, she's a nice one. And with that weather track now and that shot there, I think it looks rather nice. And it's pulling today some nice bullied coaches, Southern Region coaches, because it is a Southern Region engine. So I had a little bit of an issue with this early this morning, because I got up super early this morning. I decided to leave my alarm on for 5:30. I get up at 5:30 Monday to Friday. I get up early and start my day that time. Obviously I have to be up to get my daughter up for school, sort her out, and take care of all that business. Do the school run. Hey, we've got school's engine, so let's talk about school runs, yeah? Okay, but seriously, I thought this morning I'd get up really early, get the layout set up nice and early this morning, which I did. Then we ran into some problems with this schools class, because I went to set it up, I lubed it up because I didn't lube it up before, and it was really erratic. It wasn't running nice and smooth, it was very jerky, and I thought, what is going on? So obviously I took the tender body off. Motor was fine, everything was fine on it, pickups on the lateral loco were fine. I couldn't figure out what it was, and then I found out and noticed what it was. Between the loco and the tender, on the tender drive model, there's a brass pin that goes directly from the tender motor underneath to a corresponding drawbar on the loco, and there's 2 brass contacts either side that make electrically good with that pin. What happened was the screw that holds the drawbar, I don't know why I missed it, but it was actually loose. So I tightened that up, and I actually bent the pins in a little bit more with the pliers, and I added a fillet of solder just for good measure on the inside of the contacts. So now, as you can see, she runs very, very well. Lovely jubbly. Okay, let's get the second train of the day on the way. That's that Lima Class 47 in two-tone green with some nice tank wagons behind it. Nice tank wagon train. And that is the sort of train, again, here comes a backstory. Again, when I was a boy, my uncle used to take me over to Temple Mills yard of a Sunday morning on Hackney Marshes. And I used to make a bit, once out of the car, I used to just run across the Hackney Marshes where the football playing fields were. And I used to run all the way up to the wire fence and watch the shunting in progress. Normally it was an 08, shunting some tank wagons like those over there coming round now. But yeah, that's what I used to do of a Sunday morning when I was very small. go over to Temple Mills and watch the shunting take place. And it was that, I could have stayed there for ages. Now I'll just show you something that I've done with this Class 47. When it comes into view, there it comes. Let's bring it into shot now. Where has it gone? It's gone somewhere. There it is. Right, I'll just show you really quickly what I did with the front of these buffers on this Class 47. If you notice, I've repainted those buffers there. They are a proper colour now. They're no longer that Lima grey that came with the model that you'll see in the previous video when I actually unboxed it and showed you guys. I've actually repainted the buffer heads with some rail match black, and the buffer shanks obviously I've painted buffer being red, which I think look much better. And they are on both ends of that loco now, so they match quite nicely. Well, obviously they would. You wouldn't have one odd set on the back and one odd set at the front, but as you can see, if you catch my drift, they look much better. So, yep, they look nice now. Right, I'm just going to pause this. We're already at 17 minutes into the video and there's more trains to come. So I would suggest you go and get yourself a cup of tea or whatever you choose, and I'll see you in the next bit for the next part of the video. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining the video today, and I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen, and also a dash of BR Blue with just a hint of intercity behind it with my Batman Class 40. I think it looks really nice actually. It's the first time ever that my Batman Class 40 has had a rake of intercity coaches behind it, and even for a small layout, I think it looks absolutely fab. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, all that remains for me to do is train out a section. I'll see you in the next video. Take care, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. All the best, see you soon.